2020 was not the first time Minnesota police shocked the world. 2016, Philando Castile was shot reaching for his license after being pulled over for a broken taillight. For Don Samuels, a former 3-term Democratic city councilman, that was a call to action. It prompted him to create a nationwide crusade called Lights On. So instead of criminalizing a busted taillight, police gave $250 repair vouchers to low-income drivers, subsidized by Samuel's nonprofit.
I think it builds trust, it engenders goodwill.
No fine, no court, and no hard feelings.
That's the kind of solution-oriented thinking Samuels hoped Minneapolis leaders would use after 2020 gutted the city.
The city council was rightly concerned about the George Floyd issue and it being the tip of an iceberg of injustice. They had a right to protest. What they did then is they lost the moment and went from a righteous indignation to an extremist kind of position that saw policing as unnecessary.
But instead of focusing on fixing policing, the city council chose to funnel $2.5 million for violence interrupters, unarmed citizens who fight crime through conflict mediation.
We advocated for the creation of more unarmed safety personnel to tend to, again, all these other crises.
And we ended up with naive governance. They have sold out on this whole issue of lack of necessity of police and the fact that communities can police themselves.
Do you believe that?
No, absolutely not.
Samuel says the decision was a dangerous one.
They put everybody at risk. People are going to get killed. I assure you, if this regular citizens continues to intervene in crimes, somebody will get killed.
And that's not the only decision the city council's made that has many other leaders here in the city's concerned. It was cleanup day at this homeless encampment in South Minneapolis last month. It took 2.5 hours for the city to shovel out the accumulation of garbage that had piled up: rotting food, used drug needles, condoms, human waste, all posing dangerous health and safety conditions right next to a school for kids from preschool to 11th grade. Despite concerns that these encampments attract drug dealers and addicts and put the community at risk, City Councilman Jason Chavez is among those who approved paying $280,000 to people living in homeless encampments to clean up their own trash.
The priority should always be not lawsuits, but rather housing for people and using city resources to make sure that people can have a place to sleep at night.
Last year, the city did offer better housing to 169 people. Only 9 accepted.
Minneapolis police officers responded to multiple reports of shots being fired.
And despite the effort to make this encampment safer, just a few weeks later, a mass shooting at the same encampment and another shooting nearby left 12 people injured, 4 with life-threatening gunshot wounds.
She was shot in the head.
The encampment was immediately closed down, but there are many more.
And we have all these groups that are like, well, we must protect our unhoused neighbors. There's no group saying these are basically places for drug dealers to sell drugs. No, they're not good. They're not good for the homeless, and they're not good for our community. They are places where people die.
Dr. Carol Becker is editor of the Minneapolis Times. She worked for Democratic Mayor Sharon Sayles Belton, spent 16 years on the Board of Estimate and Taxation. She's also a college professor. Becker cites a litany of city council proposals she considers hostile to business and growth.
We have this proposal for a labor standards board that will dictate how businesses run in Minneapolis. We have a vote to close I-94 between downtown Minneapolis and downtown St. Paul because somehow we don't need to go to the suburbs anymore. And we have a vote to close the garbage burner because we're going to become zero garbage, zero waste in a year. We are 128th out of 128 Midwest cities in new housing starts. People are not coming here. And so you have to start stepping back and saying, what is it that's driving this? Who are the people leading our city? And what are they implementing that is keeping these people from investing in the city?
I agree, businesses here are struggling.
Council Vice President and Budget Chair Aisha Chugtai oversees nearly $2 billion of your taxpayer money. She says her constituents don't share the same concerns that business has.
And just hearing them talk about like the challenges with the retention of businesses and all the things that we can actually do to stimulate economic development, we're not interested in that.
Remember where we started this story? In Uptown, where Jim Rubin showed us all the boarded up buildings and empty streets? This is Chugtai's ward. Here's what she sees.
I think Uptown has always been and always will be the comeback queen. And she's in the middle of a comeback right now.
She envisions a comeback no longer intended to attract outsiders to the area.
It was built for people who live in the suburbs and choose to visit Minneapolis. And I think that when we build a major economic hub around people who don't actually go here, then it is at the whims of whether they feel like coming here or not.
One of the things that I guess younger or far left people do not examine is the role of business in the prosperity of a region and the availability of jobs and the trajectory of the community. And so business has become sort of an enemy.
And you start to get to this question of these extremists bringing in policies that are anti-job, anti-wealth building, against small business, making it hard to get around the city.
Where does this go?
Number one, we have to decide whether or not moderates are going to come back into the discussion space.
Chugtai and Chavez are both members of the Democratic Socialists of America, or DSA. There are two others as well. Oren Chowdhury, who no longer makes reference to the DSA endorsement she promoted last election, and Robin Wansley, who's an avowed Marxist.
This is why I'm a Marxist. This is why I'm a socialist. Like, it's about having opportunity for working class people, convening opportunities for working class people to flex their power.
Robin Wansley isn't just the leader, she is the one that is introducing the most legislation and the most influential. She's the one that everybody votes with the most, and she does not believe in capitalism. She does not believe in private ownership of property. She wants the government to own it all. That's how extreme we are talking about for our city council.
Wansley led the campaign to stop the reopening of the 3rd Precinct.
Are you not paying attention to what is happening in Atlanta around Cop City? That's what you want right now? And all the inhumane you've done to working class people in this city, you really want to try that. People literally call their bluff, like, try us. Try us.
We wanted to understand how these DSA endorsed members have so much influence on City Council when there are only 4 of them. They're not even close to a majority. Over the past 4 months, we've made several requests for sit-down interviews with each of them. 2 initially agreed and then canceled. The other simply never responded. But the question remains, how has the DSA managed to push through so many extremist proposals? So we brought in a mathematician to analyze how every member voted on every issue last year. And what we found is startling. Take a look at the numbers. It takes 7 out of 13 votes to pass a resolution by majority. Last year, mainstream Democrats, the DFL, aligned with the socialist DSA as a majority 85% of the time or more. A supermajority, which overrides mayoral vetoes, requires 9 out of 13 votes. Mainstream Democrats aligned with socialists 69% of the time or more. And get this, the council president, Elliott Payne, who ran as a mainstream Democrat, voted with the socialists 93 to 98% of the time.
But that's amazing. That's a powerful visual of, is that one party? Is that 2 parties? What is their true affiliation? Or are they saying what they need to say to get in the door, and maybe there's a different agenda?
Stuart Ackerberg is a lifelong Democrat from a second-generation family that's been doing business in Uptown more than 60 years.
The council member that controls the core of the commercial space in Uptown, the 10th Ward, in my opinion, has not been really pro-business, has not been pro-safety and security.
Have you ever read the DSA platform?
I have. It's frightening. Frightening. I think everyone should read it because it is astounding. I was shocked and saddened and a little afraid when I read it.
Now, this is what Ackerberg is talking about. The DSA platform. That's their goals and objectives. They want to free all incarcerated people. They want to close local jails, disarm and defund the police. They want to abolish prisons, end all misdemeanor offenses, and cut funding for prosecutors. And then they would like social ownership of all major industry and infrastructure.
We're back to communism, where government owns the whole economy, that there is no capitalism, and there's no private ownership of businesses.
How did this happen?
I was an elected official in 2017 when we first saw social media being this new organizing tool, and they used it to overthrow the moderates on the city council.
According to Becker, the DSA brought less radical groups into its fold by sounding more moderate until after the election.
And then comes in with this much, much more radical agenda. It isn't, we're going to represent the people who are here. It was, we're going to rebuild the city in our image.
Part of why I think the DSA has been successful is that we're looking at elections taking place on off years.
Political scientist Dr. David Schultz says it's no coincidence this group is ramping up for election in 2025. It's an off-year election with traditionally very low turnout. Also unusual, this election year, everybody on the city council is up for re-election. The DSA has endorsed a 5th candidate for city council, a candidate for mayor, and 2 more for Parks and Recreation.
Activists, this is their only game in town. And they're motivated, they show up, and what? In an electoral democracy, those who show up get to move the political agenda.
There are lots and lots of people who have been voting Democrat their whole lives. They don't understand that they're voting for a socialist instead of what had been the Democratic agenda. I don't know how many more years we can live with this extremist agenda, but it's not working.
For Becker, this is a fight to the finish. It's either take back her city or be forced to leave.
They're talking about a wealth tax. If I had double-digit tax increases last year, I've got double-digit tax increases that are probably going to happen this year. I don't know that I can continue to even afford my home.
So we asked her, what's her breaking point?
I lived in this home for over 30 years. In the previous 30 years, the only thing that happened was somebody stole the hubcaps off my Taurus. We had 6 crimes at my house last year. Someone broke into our cars 3 times. And then we got gifted with a Kia at 3:30 in the morning that somebody had stolen and destroyed. And then I had a peeping Tom, and I have a daughter that's 18. That's pushing us. That's what worries me, and that we can't get rid of these ideologies that are leading us into bad places. The city dies. This thing that I've cared about much of my life dies.
But there's still hope. Other cities have managed to reverse such a downturn or avoid one altogether. How did they do it? That's next.